what you need to know when traveling to Spain. So I lived in Spain for about 3 months. It was a wonderful time, northern Spain specifically. But this video is kind of just a general guide of what you should know when you go to Spain, once you're there, you know, that sort of thing. So first things first is that I would avoid going during peak season, which is summer. Usually June to September, that sort of thing. Maybe even earlier, but going in peak season is not very pleasant, especially if you're going to one of the main cities like Barcelona or Madrid, mainly because it will be extremely crowded with tourists. It will be extremely hot, especially Madrid or the southern cities, very, very hot and very unpleasant in terms of the weather. And just in general, it's not an authentic experience because, again, the crowds are mostly going to be tourists. So if that's a problem that you're concerned about, avoid summer, especially if you're really into visiting museums, visiting the cathedrals, the churches, the historical sites. All the tourists are going to go straight there, and you're going to be waiting in line for like 3 hours in horrible, horrible heat. So it's really best. When I went in autumn, from September to through December. And that was a very nice time. It did get a little bit cold because, again, I was in the province of Asturias, which was a very northern mountainous area, and it did get cold, but not that cold, not even cold enough to snow. But the rest of Spain does stay pretty warm even in the winter. So you just kind of have to, you know, think about when is the best time for you to go, when can you go, or what kind of weather are you hoping to experience. And that sort of thing. But shoulder season, which is autumn or spring and even winter sometimes, those are all really nice times to go because there are very minimal tourists. The prices of things are generally better, the weather is nicer, more refreshing, and again, since there's no tourists hardly, you won't have to wait in line for things so much, and you'll have a more authentic experience. Now, besides of when to go, there are also some certain cultural differences to expect once you actually arrive in Spain. For example, there's no point in really tipping at restaurants. In the United States, obviously tipping at restaurants, tipping the server is expected. It's something you pretty much have to do in most cases. Not really much in Spain because they just pay their servers properly, so they don't have to rely on tips, so you don't really have to tip them. You know, a few times we made the mistake of tipping a server, and even they were like, you don't have to do that, it's not necessary. You can tip €1 or 2, but again, it's not really that necessary. It's not really a thing out in Spain and some other European countries as well. Now, besides that, there are also some other cultural differences. Now, if you're worried about looking like a tourist, or being treated like a tourist, that sort of thing, there are a few things that will really make you stand out as a tourist. For example, ordering a sangria will pretty much automatically stamp you as a tourist. If you want a more authentic experience, you can always, you know, if you're going out for drinks, order a caña, which is just a glass of beer. It's just a more authentic experience, you know. You can get a nice Spanish beer, very refreshing. But sangria is not exactly a traditional type of drink there. It's more of a tourist thing. And that's kind of similar with some other foods and dishes and drinks and just things like that. Now, another thing regarding food is that Spaniards really like to eat dinner late. They have a different meal structure, where breakfast is usually something sweet and light, maybe like a little croissant-looking thing. Lunch is a little bit heavier, sometimes actually quite heavy. Then when you eat dinner, it's usually very, very, very late. Sometimes 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And then sometimes, I mean, they stay up really late. I was surprised. They might even have a little snack like at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, depending. But they eat dinner very, very late. And actually, restaurants are closed from a lot of the middle of the day, from about 1 to 7 in the evening. in most cases. So if you plan on eating out at that time, you're gonna have a hard time because most of the restaurants are closed. So it's best to kind of readjust your eating schedule and try to eat a little bit later to fit on their schedule, so it's just easier, and you don't end up going to restaurants and finding them closed. Another important thing, especially if you're going to a big city, I didn't really have this problem because I was in a smaller area, but specifically Madrid or Barcelona, there are problems with petty theft. And for that reason, it's a good idea to keep an eye on your belongings. If you have a purse, keep it close to you, make sure you see it at all times. If you have a wallet, I would say just keep your hands in your pockets at all times, because there are some mastermind pickpockets, even specifically in Barcelona. Barcelona's kind of known for its pickpocketers, especially among tourists. So really just keep a close eye on your belongings. Don't leave them out of your sight even for a second. But again, these are mainly for the big cities. If you go to a smaller town or a smaller city where there's just less tourists in general, less hubbub, you probably won't have that much of a problem in the first place, but it is still a good idea to just keep an eye on your stuff anyway, because pickpocketers often target tourists because they're carrying more stuff on them, more money on them, that sort of thing. So as long as you're prepared in that area, you shouldn't have any problems. It should be very easy for you to enjoy yourself in Spain. It's a very beautiful country, many different sights to see. But yeah, these were kind of my general tips for what to expect when you go to Spain. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, I make several videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.